what my biggest mistakes before I started working with Renee.
If my period's going to come back, or I used to just worry about everything, whether it was too hot inside, too cold outside. I was just underfueling, and I knew I was underfueling, but I was too scared to overfuel.
Okay,
I was worried about.
Get out.
So guys, if any of you have any suggestions, just comment below.
Get out now.
God bless, may the Lord be with you. Namaste. God, did you turn your eyebrows?
Get out. Don't know how this is going to work. It's quite high up today, isn't it? Maybe I'll drop you down. Wow, that is zoom on my spot and a bit more on my spots. Hello. And welcome back to another video. Now, this is a requested video, and the reason why I'm answering it on YouTube is because I thought it was a good idea. So the question is, biggest mistake / misconception about recovery before working with Renee. Now, if you don't know, then I worked with Renee McGregor on my HA recovery, and if you don't know, I'd recommend going back and looking through all my other videos. 2 seconds. Hey Google, turn off. Because there's a lot more about my journey there. The biggest thing for me was that I needed someone else to tell me what I knew, but I didn't just need any old person. I needed someone with credibility to tell me what I already knew, because Renee never told me anything else that I didn't already know. It was the things like eating regularly, eating more, make sure you're eating more carbs, but having someone else tell me that helped me so much more. And just having someone that I kind of respected, because I knew she'd helped loads of other people get their periods back previously, having that person just really helped me be like, okay, yeah, I know what I'm doing, but okay, now you've told me to do it, it's slightly different. So beforehand, I was definitely eating more. I slowly started introducing more, and I was definitely surrounding myself around with like a shit ton of education tools. But I think the main things were that I was still training fasted. So one of the things that really taught me was about training fasted, not to, if you're a female, to try and have something, because that 8 or however gap between sleep, that's quite a long time to go without fuel. So and also when we wake up, our cortisol levels are quite high, so making sure that we're having something. I was still training fasted every single day. Also, she taught me a lot about like the whole recovery process of like, you cannot, if you want to perform well in your sport or your workout, you need to be recovering. And if you don't want to perform well, or you're not fussed about that and you're doing it for the calorie burn, then maybe we need to look at the reasons why you're working out. And that really hit home with me, because I was like, oh my God, that's so true. I'm not prioritizing recovery, and I'm not fueling myself properly, yet I moan when I'm in the gym and I can't do a workout properly, or I feel exhausted, or I'm having to go to bed mega early because I'm so wiped out, or I'm having to have 6 coffees a day. That it was little things like that it was like, oh yeah, no, you're right, my approach to training has all been wrong. Another thing that really helped me with is, as much as I had done loads and loads of self-development anyway, like spirituality, that kind of thing, and really diving deep, I'd had like Reiki and acupuncture, that kind of thing. But what she really helped me do is we'll dig deep into why it was I started exercising in the first place, and why it was that I started dieting in the first place. And Renee is incredible in the sense that she has so much knowledge and psychology background as well, that she's really able to kind of really dig deep and find that why. And through her sessions, I was able to work out actually the real cause, the real root reason why I first started exercising in the first place. And then she just made me realize that like, that's not my life anymore. That part of me and the experiences I was having then isn't what I'm having now. So why would I continue carrying on something however many years later? So that was really good. And I don't think, as much as I was definitely like reading more and doing more self-development, I think I wasn't diving deeper. And until you work with someone else, you're not able to dive as deep as what you probably would like to, because your ego sort of stops you. It's like, oh, that feels uncomfortable, yeah, let's stop there. Whereas when you're working with someone else, it's like, no, let's get deeper and deeper. I think as well, another thing, that I was still exercising, but I wasn't enjoying it. So mentally, I couldn't stop myself exercising. I was still in that kind of state of like, I have to exercise, but also in the workouts, they were causing me so much anxiety that I was like, oh my God, I really don't want to go too hard in my workout, but I really don't want to waste the workout. And it was so like mentally busy that I think the whole mindset around the whole thing just wasn't benefiting me when it came to training. Whereas Renee was able to kind of say, look, you're allowed to work out, you're allowed to train, you're allowed to be someone that enjoys exercise. That's fine, but it doesn't have to completely control your life. So working with Renee enabled me to be like, oh, okay, cool, so I can still train, because all the other research that I had done was all about like, you need to stop exercising, you need to embrace who you are, you can't do this, you can't, and I'm like, that doesn't really sit well with me. I want to exercise, and I also want to have the discipline to train and exercise without it taking over my life. Previously, it was taking over my life, whereas Renee made me realise that it doesn't have to take over your life. You can enjoy it and you can train sustainably and sensibly while fueling yourself, and it's actually not necessarily what you're doing in the training session, but it's what you're doing around it. So it's like the sleep priority, the carbs priority, making sure we're having loads of carbs, and making sure we're eating regularly and not eating fasted. The great thing I think about working with Renee was that she, as I've mentioned earlier, she never told me anything I didn't particularly know, but she gave it to me straight. It was like, right, no training fasted, let your path go. And kind of everything I talk about on here is like eating regularly. And she did give me a meal plan that I was able to follow, which really helped me. I remember it's like little small wins like this, but in the meal plan, one of the like lunchtime options was like jacket potato with beans and cheese. And I had sweet potato, beans and cheese. And I remember I had a table just there, and I was living alone in the first lockdown, and I had it, and I think I've still got the photo on my phone, but I remember sitting there eating it and going, oh my God, this feels amazing. And it's like my whole body just went, thank God you're fueling me, thank God you're giving me a decent meal at lunchtime rather than just a few green leaves. It was one of those moments, and I thought that was one of the key moments of like, yeah, I can do this. I had huge issues with my GP and the kind of like NHS side of things, because they haven't really heard of amenorrhea from someone that looks quite healthy, is very fit, that kind of thing. I wasn't anorexic, and I'd gone through the system quite a bit of having loads of scans and tests, and they hadn't found anything. They also came back and said that my hormones were absolutely normal. So I'm there going along now trying to eat and feel better, but I'm like, oh, but the GP's saying I'm normal, the GP's saying everything's fine, but it's clearly not fine. And there was so much stress around it, and it was only until I saw Renee that she broke down all my hormones and was like, nah, you've got no estrogen. And I'm like, why didn't the GP tell me that? But then I also have to be very cautious. I would hate to speak badly of them, because I completely appreciate your GP maybe sees me twice a year, if that. Take away the period, I was seeing them quite a bit around my periods every couple of months, but other than that, they don't know you, do they? And also you think they are a general practitioner, so how can they be so, they can't know everything so specific. So if you are thinking about whether you go to see a professional, I would 100% recommend it, because Renee does specialise in this area. And even if it comes back that actually you don't, and it might be, and you might have something else, you might be pregnant or PCOS or something like that, then at least you've like got rid of that. I feel like working with Renee, it got rid of all of that anxiety that I was carrying around with me, and that uncertainty of, do I have HA? Don't I have HA? Are my hormones okay? Am I doing the right thing? Should I be doing this? Am I just going to be gaining weight for no reason? Should I even be quitting exercise? There was just so much that I feel like as soon as I started working with Renee, it was like a whole, okay. And I think it's also having that support of like someone to fall back on that has done all those qualifications, has done all that studying for you, that is able to then pass the information on to you, and you're able to internalize it in your own way. So yeah, I don't know if that's the question, if I've answered the questions of my biggest mistakes. To sum it up, I'd say my biggest mistakes were still underfueling, still really having a low carb diet, still prioritizing just protein. And there was definitely times that I'd just have chicken and salad. Still training fasted, not prioritizing recovery, or appreciating recovery, should I say, and also just being really, really anxious about the whole situation. And then as soon as I started working with Renee, she was able to kind of help me and guide me through all of that. And actually I only had 2 sessions with Renee. So I had the initial one, which is where she broke down all my hormones. We dived a little deeper into like why I was exercising so much and why I probably had HA, and she gave me my meal plan and kind of sent me on my way. And then about a month later, maybe a month later or 2 months later, I had a bit of a wobble and I found myself really restricting again and wanting to work out loads. So I spoke to my mum and I said, I haven't gone back to how I was, but I feel like I want to. Her mum was like, nah, let's nip it in the bud now. Let's get a session booked in with Renee, which I was able to do quite quickly. And that was kind of a session that I really needed, of just like, you're doing the right thing. You're cool. You're a good girl. And that's all I needed, and I haven't had to work with or felt the need to work with her since. I have still spoken to Renee and like on Instagram and stuff like that. She's we're still in contact, if you like, but I don't have any more sessions with her. And as you probably know, if you've seen my other videos, I do have my period back. So if you are thinking about working with a professional or Renee or similar, I would definitely recommend it. Hope I've answered that question all right. If I haven't, let me know. And yeah, I think I'm done here. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel and maybe sharing with some girls that you might think need to hear it. Bye!